just having plans for like floaty mid tiers.
Mm,
I'm sick of losing the floaty mid tiers, and I
yeah.
know that there's like I'm probably just not keeping a few things in mind. Like I
Mm.
have plans for most of them, but like I don't
Uh, no, I mean I understand. I think the mid tiers, you need to give them like you general need to give them like a bit more work than people generally tend to expect. Because
know. Of course,
yeah,
I'm still playing a game against someone else. I'm that's definitely not. I'm not discrediting floaty mid tiers. I just
yeah,
like I don't like I need to learn. I want you to teach me the matchup the way it's supposed to be played so that it's a lot easier for me to play it.
yeah. No, I mean I totally
Right.
agree. Yeah, no, and that's what we're here for.
um
Yeah. Um.
but I feel like we can divide uh, I feel like I'm not sure which ones. I'd like to. This is like a theory. I'd like to talk philosophy, like going into like, oh, here's this player who's like maybe they're not that bad, but they play a weird character, and I'm not immediately ready for it.
Mhm.
What am I looking for against any given floating mid tier? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's way too much. That's a lot of content for one lesson. But I don't know. I'd like to. If you have something to talk to me about, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think that I guess like an initial way to approach it, just like lay out like conceptually is what makes the mid tiers is that like they just have like less relevant options, right? Yeah, and so it's like given that I think that you could kind of like the way that you approach them is at least outside of like playing them in tournament or whatever, you could sit down and just like map out like their entire
Yeah,
game
it's
plan
not.
essentially.
They don't have they. I mean, they only have so many options that are real.
Yeah, I agree.
Map out their real options. Okay.
Yeah, and so like one thing that I did pretty early in the teaching lessons is someone was like, I want to develop a um like fundamental game plan for what's it called for Yoshi, and I was like,
Uh,
oh, I get that, and I literally had a lesson, an hour-long lesson where I just built Yoshi up like from the ground up, right? And within that hour, I covered most of Yoshi's fundamental like values and like strengths,
right.
right? And so it's like that's what makes like these mid tier characters worse is that like I can sit here and like teach someone how to approach Yoshi as like
Right.
a matchup literally within an hour. Um and I think like to like how to like apply that to your experiences or what you want to learn or whatever is it's just that like when you look at these characters you just look at every move they have and be like what does this move do. You have to establish what the character wants, right? What does this move do? What are this character's goals based off their moves and how does that interact with my kit, right?
Right.
That's like the approach that you'd apply to it. Now I think that like obviously it's different for every mid tier, but that's like generally how I would go into it. And so I think maybe what we could do with this lesson is you pick, a floating mid tier of your choice, and we could sit here and like work on it and map it out and kind of like decide what does this character want? Why would they want it? Why would they do it? How do they do things? What are like, you know,
Well, it's funny because I find myself losing to the shield grabby characters. That like
yeah.
I'm perfectly comfortable fighting Samuses and whatever, and like but like when I start fighting Doc or DK. And I'm like getting shield. I know that I probably need to apply safer pressure, but I don't know how to follow my own rules quick enough to adapt.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe that's a matter of like maybe the way that you like view the character, where it's like, this character sucks, or they don't have that many options, and so you don't like you kind of overgeneralize, and like the way that you would play against them would end up being like, it's generalized, and so
Right.
maybe one of the things you do is actually thing that the character is good at like dealing with, and you just like do that even and because you're assuming that they're just like generally bad or whatever, right? And so I think that's like it's important to kind of be like, well, what is this character actually bad at? Why would I do the thing I do, And like maybe it's like playing disrespectfully or like doing things fast and thinking that the character can't deal with the pressure is like a way that you generalize like these mid tiers and
Yeah,
that they
I
can't
feel
deal
like
with.
that's such an interesting point you bring up because like a lot of the reason like when I talk to other top foxes about it, they're like the reason they're mid tier is because A, well, they expose themselves more. They put themselves in vulnerable spots more often, and B, your game plan against them is a lot simpler. You doing less is better, right?
Yeah.
And I'm bad at doing less.
Yeah. Doing
And I
less
need
is
to learn
hard.
how to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me see. So, for example, yeah, I lost to Donkey Kong at Big House, and so
Yeah.
I know that like I just need to play around shield grab. Yet for whatever reason in tournament, I still don't follow my own rules.
I
It's
mean,
frustrating because I have the intuition to beat these characters. I know what I need to do most of the time, and then I get like, it's funny. I think I lost the set. Like I lost to the DK the same way I lost to napkins. I got shield grabbed 3 times in a row, and it's just like, well, yeah, I'm not sure.
so I guess an idea that I have that we could do is I'm gonna open up like 20XX and then put a Fox and a Donkey Kong on the screen, and we could literally just talk about the things that Donkey Kong does and what that means for you and how you'd want to interact with
I'm
them.
down. Let's do it. And
Yeah.
we can sort of talk about a few if we can get through like a few mid tiers, just like have a few. Like I just want. There's some things that I'm just not cognizant of. I want to see if there's something that you point out that like I've just never thought about before.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
So I know A is the best when he's facing away from you, right? Like he's much like only a real character. The only real thing he has when he's facing in front of you is shield grab.
Well, actually, I think that when Donkey Kong's facing you, actually has a few other things he could do. Yes, forward tilt. Forward tilt's really good. Actually, I'm gonna make myself control the DK because it's easier. So it's like DK has forward tilt, which is like a good way to stop running shine. It's like kind of similar, honestly, to Samus F tilt. Maybe he doesn't get like a massive combo, but it's like a real way that he gets to interact with
Beat that by CC, right?
You could shield if you're close enough. You could shield grab it.
Oh, I keep forgetting that he's he's just a fat body that I can probably shield grab in places that I just don't try to. Because,
We could also test it right now. This could be a valuable thing. I'm not sure if you could wave dash shadow to shield forward tilt, but if you can, then shielding it is like way better because you just get like a real opportunity. Let me set this up. Boop, 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 boop. And then I'll be Fox and try to shadow shield. Yep, you could wave dash shadow shield shine, right?
And so
it's like
this is a good example for me because if with these mid tiers I can just like experiment with Uncle Punch until I like find counterplay to obviously exploitable stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with me just not focusing on these matchups at all.
I think that makes sense. And yeah, that's one of the things that makes these characters bad is that they have things that are easily beatable. Right? It's not that like, maybe they don't have the best inherent options, but what makes these options bad? Yeah.
You just have to know how to easily beat the kit, and if you don't, then you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah. And also, I want to kind of point out that look at how far away he is when he forward tilts.
You can shield grab from so far.
Yeah, right.
And you're just like if the F tilt connects, it's like whatever you have the opportunity to CC or do whatever.
Yeah, like CC is also an option.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I can do
CC,
this.
You can even CC grab out of that, huh?
Yeah. Right, and it's like, okay, well, forward tilt's a thing that he could do while facing forward. That's good against running shine, but like clearly there is counterplay for it, and it's not always good. So you could be aware of that. Another thing that Donkey Kong has when facing forward is down tilt, which is like a really easy poke for him to do because it's fast.
It's like a Marth down tilt almost if beats holding forward, right?
Yeah, it's like a Marth down tilt, but like is worse on hit because you see how literally not going anywhere from this, right?
Well, the Marth down tilt is good because it sends him so far back, and like you have to be preliminary. You have to be principally CCing it to get counterplay. Like the first down tilt, you have to CC, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he just down tilts you twice, and all of a sudden you're too far to grab.
Yeah.
Okay.
So down tilt's this thing that can stop you, but obviously down tilt, it's fast, but look at how it hits.
It's just like a Marth. How you can like overshoot drill against Marth.
Yeah, you could jump over it. You could you could honestly CC grab it or CC shine it. I think you could CC shine it. I think it's too fast to CC grab, but you could CC shine it. You could, like, just space around it and not interact with it. And I think that's important to recognize, too, is that, like, you don't have to do anything about this down tilt, because if it hits you, he can't do this. It's not like this is even a combo, right? It's super fake.
Yeah, super duper fake.
And so it's like, okay, well, we know that that's the case. It's like, well, him down tilting doesn't even do anything. If I get hit, so who cares?
Great, I take 13%.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to worry about that. And I think it's like, if you want to think about this in terms of risk reward, you trying to interact with this directly honestly ends up being pretty bad. Because what if he's crouching like this, and instead of, like, down tilting, or he does, like, wave dash. What if instead of doing wave dash down tilt, he does wave dash and then, like, dashes back and pivot grabs, right? Yeah, and he has pivot grabs, you trying to jump over it. And so it's like...
The back air are the scary big hitboxes. They're, like, the only... I mean, the openers into the juicy linear combo or whatever, right?
Yeah, I agree. And so it's like, okay, Bear is good, obviously, because it's a big move he can use his space. It's hard to deal with. You can't really CC it. It's honestly... Since he does it late a lot, it's actually pretty hard to whiff punish directly, but obviously dash dance grab's good because Donkey Kong doesn't have a shine, so, like, if he does this Bear and he's, like, wrong or something, he has to, like, shield to defend himself because he can't run away because he's too slow, and he can't shine because he's not Fox or Falco, right?
I think one thing I'm noticing now that you pointed out, a lot of the characters that when you try to run at them in Nair, their whole game plan is centralized around counter hitting that.
Yeah.
You just need to... and that's a trap that a lot of Foxes fall into, right? Where they're like, oh, I can just nair this person. I don't need to respect this.
Yeah.
And then you lose because their whole game plan is built around them not respecting them.
Yeah, and it's like, Donkey Kong is actually pretty good at dealing with nair. CC grab, dash dance grab, Bear...
Shield grab.
Like,
be out of shields.
Yeah, right, up get a shield. Bear beats nair. Like, Donkey Kong, like, sucks when he gets hit by nair and, like, doesn't have defense, but he has a lot of ways to play around it, and it's not difficult for him to play around it out of, like, true neutral and stuff.
Right.
And so it's like, that's kind of a thing that people do. That's like an overgeneralization that people make. Fox nair is really good. But it's like, these characters are all unique that have different strengths, right? It's not like everyone just, like, loses to the same thing, and that's how you have to think about it. It's like, Donkey Kong, well, he's actually pretty good against you doing, like, approaching aerials and stuff. And so it's like, what are his weaknesses? It's that, well, he's slow, he has a big hurt box, he gets hit a lot. And so chasing him down seems to be pretty good, because, while he does have Bear, he doesn't actually have things that, like, protect himself when his back's turned, right? So if he has his back turned and he's grounded, it's not like he can easily stop you, and so it's like, okay, being behind Donkey Kong is like, we could say generally pretty good. Obviously, it depends, because if he's shielding and you're behind them, that's where up B comes out, and so it's like, not that good, right? But it's like, okay, that's whatever. But it's like, okay, being behind Donkey Kong's pretty good, generally.
So would you agree with the philosophy of a more passive, like playing less is more against these mid-tier characters, passively looking for, like, your in, and then using that, like, very linear in, knowing that your opponent isn't like looking for one particular piece, one or two pieces of counterplay. Like, you're just waiting and seeing until, okay, well, this is the option they opt to do, and if I punish it, I can reliably win off of a counter hit. Or, like, how should I approach? I feel like you can treat, like, it's not that you can treat the mid tiers the same, but like the philosophy of, like, gathering information is what I'm more interested in about. What information am I looking to, like, exploit against these mid tiers? Like, for example, like, a Fox player loves to do, like, a certain player loves, like get up attack, so you just wait out a get up attack and get a longer punish because they're off of a knockdown, they're pressing too many buttons. Like, what are the things I'm looking for against mid tiers? Like I want, what's my in? You know what I mean?
Well, I have no general response to that, because it depends.
General response
right?
is perfect, right?
I think it's just that, like, you should just look for the character's weaknesses. So it's like Donkey Kong, for example. Well, Donkey Kong, he has some strengths. His back is pretty good. His upper is a good combo move.
His grab game is great.
Yeah, his grab game is great, but it's like, well, I feel like Donkey Kong doesn't actually have, like, what's it called? Donkey Kong does not have dynamic ways to play interactions. He doesn't have, like, a forward air that he could just use reasonably. His nair doesn't really do that much. His down air is, like, really specific, and his bear requires him to have his back
one aerial and one grab.
Yeah, it's
right.
right, and it's like, okay, well, once you've established that like Donkey Kong doesn't have like a wide variety of ways to deal with things, and that like lets us view him in a specific way, where it's like, okay, well, like Donkey Kong doesn't have any good forward-facing things. Well, I don't think he can really approach that well, and so it's like, maybe it's good to make Donkey Kong come to you, lasering, jumping the side platform,
So the
staying
linear
grounded.
neutral choices is what you're getting at, right? There's very limited linear options in neutral, and even in punish that like you can only approach with so many things in comparison to like Fox, who has like 15 different ways to approach every character in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Donkey Kong does not have a lot of ways to do the things he does do, and so it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then it's like I will simply just play into the their weakness. And it's like, if Donkey Kong can't approach well, I'm literally just gonna laser, and then once I'm close enough to him, do things that make it hard for him to interact. Because it's like Donkey Kong close range isn't that great. Because look, he doesn't have a shine. His forward tilt doesn't really do that much, right? He doesn't get much value off down tilt. His jab doesn't do anything. Wow, all of his forward-facing moves do nothing close range, right? Forward smash is slow as fuck. Dash attack doesn't really do anything. It's like, wow, okay, so if that's the case, then my goal is just to kind of like place low, make Donkey Kong approach, and then once he's close to me, I can apply pressure or do things from like advantage state, right?
Right. Or like another example is like going off of this thought process is like another character would be like Doc. Like when I talk to Meds about Doc, he's like, yeah, all you have to do is up tilt, use the up tilt and back air moves, and like Doc is too stubby. I want, these are things I need to internalize because I find myself uncomfortable fighting these characters just because I don't put time or thought into it. But just talking about it alone is really helpful, actually.
Yeah, no, I think it's just like you have to realize, and I think the terms that you put it in are also really important because it's like with the Doc thing being like you just have to up tilt and bear him doesn't imply anything meaningful. But if you say Dr. Mario does not have good range and you can outmaneuver him, doesn't that like inspire a different type of thought in your mind?
It's so this character does not have X, Y, and Z, and therefore I must play it this way.
I mean, it's just like the idea of like these characters having weaknesses, right? It's
X
like
character has Y weakness,
and so
therefore for Z, therefore I must play because of X character and Y weakness. I must play Z way.
Yeah, and that's like a way that you could process it because it's like, and the same thing goes for high tiers. It's like, well, Marth is a character that like since he doesn't have lasting aerials. Once you get close to him and make him commit, he like is essentially a sitting duck afterward. And so because of that, I would do whatever things that like will align specifically with the situation at hand, right?
Right.
And so like that's a generalization that you make that will lead you to conclusions that are more specific. And so it's like all right, you go.
So, sorry, I was going to say, so make specific generalizations that lead to conclusions, but those generalizations, it's so weird, right? Because making generalizations is bad in Melee, but we need to make generalizations to come to a specific conclusion.
Yeah, it's the generalizations are not about like, it's about how you like perceive the information. It's so you look at it in like the correct way. It's not about like
perceive the information correctly.
Yeah, it's not about giving you like the generalizations are not the answers. They're just a way to view the information that will let you like get to the answer you need to get to.
Not the answers, but the path to them.
Yeah, it's like
themselves, but the path to the answers.
Yeah, it's like imagine if you're a Marth player and you want to play against Fox, and someone's like, "Well, Marth has better range than Fox." That statement doesn't mean anything inherently, right? But it should lead you to like the place that would let you.
Why would someone say that, right?
Yeah, it's like why does Marth having more range than Fox mean anything? Well, you'd think, well, if he has more range, then there's a lot of spots where Marth can hit Fox where Fox can't hit him. So that means that, oh, well, if there's a lot of spots where that's the case, then maybe Fox has to, like, wait for Marth to do things before he approaches or whatever. It's right. It, like, leads you to the conclusions that you need to come to. And then it leads you to, like, well, once you end up in a real position where it's like, okay, Fox is, like, I think Fox is going to running shine from this spacing, the fact that you are processing it through the framework of Marth has more range than Fox, then it should be like, okay, well, if I have more range than him, then I could reasonably stop him from running forward this way with a hitbox, right?
Right.
Like, that is, like, the process that you want to end up at, right? That's where, like, you end up at a conclusion.
Take generalizations, frame them in a way that gives you a game plan, and from there find your answers in a specific way so that you perceive it in the specific, correct way.
Yeah. You want to, like, generalizations aren't there to give you the answer, but they are there to, like, let you work towards the answer reasonably, yeah.
For sure. And so, like, another character I struggle with, I played Eddie Mexico in tournament, and he, like, it was bad. In game 3, I felt better, but before that, like, I know that that Luigi has to directly approach me. Like, he has to wave dash in at some point, and that I can stuff Luigi out, knowing that he has to be close to me to, like, get it confirmed. But, like, I still get absolutely washed because I'm like, I don't have the proper reps in stuffing Luigi out. Like, that type of beat, right? Where, like, is that what you're saying? Like, figure out, okay, well, this character, if you know the objective facts about the game and, like, the character's kit, and then apply the kit in a way that that frames it in strengths and weaknesses, then leading you to a process of answers.
Yeah, so with Luigi, what I'd say is, like, one of Luigi's main weaknesses is that, like, since he's a character that doesn't dash as much, but he has to use wave dash to, like, move around, and that he doesn't have that much horizontal drift when he does jump, that means that the way that, like, the angles that he could, like, approach or, like, make decisions is limited, right? And so, as Fox, with not limited movement, or, like, a wide way of doing things, that means that you could reasonably outmaneuver him consistently, right? And so, like, that is why, that's, like, the weakness that, that's how you come to a meaningful conclusion about a weakness a character has or something, right?
Right.
And so it's like, I can tell that Luigi, since he has to wave dash, and I know that he doesn't have good aerial drift, I could come to this generalization that I could outmaneuver him, and then I'll use that to, like, make a real, come to a real conclusion about that, where it's like, okay, look at the spots where I can, like, where he would want to do something that would, like, be difficult angles for him to, like, attack. And so it's like, once you look at, get a bit more specific and look at Luigi's moves and stuff, it's like, okay, well, with wave dash forward tilt, I could tell, obviously, that he could, like, cover a lot of space horizontally, but then, like, okay, well, if he wants to cover vertically, he has to jump in some way. He can't do it from the ground.
And he has to drift when he's on. Yeah, okay. So then, therefore, you're saying outmaneuver Luigi by using your better aerial drift to force bad approach options?
Well, I don't think that's... I guess the conclusion that I would come to based off of that information is that, like, it's that since Luigi can only hit in specific ways, you should find the ways that he can hit and then learn how to avoid them. Because it's like, looking at...
find ways you get hit. And that's as simple as going into Uncle Punch and, like, making save states and getting hit by every move and figuring out, like, right? Like, so what you're saying is if I go into Uncle Punch and, like, honestly, you could do it with the whole... There's an argument to just, like, make save states of the whole cast approaching you to just, like feel things out, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, and I think that's, like, a reasonable thing to do. And so it's like, I could sit here and be like, we do forward tilt. I don't want to get hit by this. I want to avoid it. And so I understand that there's, like, he has a threat range inherently, and so I could play around that. Or I could see that he wave dashes, and then what are the things I could do on reaction? And it's like, oh, I could actually shield, right? But
shield down tilt, wave dash down tilt, right? I think because is down smash is definitely not safe on shield, right?
No, it's not. But so it's like, I could sit here and be like, oh, I could see that he, like, forward tilted my shield, and I want to do something about it, And it's like...
crazy that you have enough time to wave dash out a shield first.
Yeah, no, I mean, the move is ass. It's a really good move, but it has a lot of lag.
Right? I'm just thinking about, like, the way you framed, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But, I mean, you also have to think that, like, what are other things Luigi could do? Luigi could wave dash up grab, and that's, like, a decision, right?
Wave dash down smash.
And that, like, him doing wave dash grab beats shield. But if you were playing it, like, more evasively and you full hop, then, it beats both those things. But then, there's also another... there's other things Luigi could do on a wave dash, like wave dash jump, right? And so it's
wave dash jump down air is one of the big ones I saw Eddie doing a lot.
Yeah, and so it's like we looked at like if I full hop on reaction and wave dashing, I get literally full hop fared, right? And so it's like, oh, there's a mix up, and you have to
So if the Luigi player knows the Fox player is going to be playing in the air, they're going to in neutral preemptively be throwing out like wave dash short or wave dash full hop aerials.
Yeah, but like
so
I also think that it's important to realize that like you realize that there's those dichotomies of the mix-ups, and then it's like, is there a thing I can do that just lets me not engage with any of it? And guess what?
Let me ask, hold on, that's a really good, is there, sorry, can you repeat that? I feel like that's gold material.
I agree. It's like, is there a way that I could just decide to not engage with any of it?
Decide to not engage with this character.
Yeah, and it's like, that is like really, really important, because it's like,
if so, how?
Yeah.
If not, how do I minimize the engagement?
Yeah, it's like, and that's also a thing that makes these characters bad, is that it's like,
there's a way to consistently make sure that they can engage you. That's why they're low
they
tiers,
they
right?
can't always make you interact with them. They just aren't good enough to.
Yeah. How do I minimize the engagement rate? Mid tiers are mid tiers because they are more vulnerable and you can force them to not engage.
Yeah.
They are more vulnerable. And you can force situations where engagement is impossible.
Yep, you could simply run away, and they just cannot stop you sometimes.
Can simply run away, and sometimes they are unable to stop you because of their kit. Simply because of their kit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something I never. I mean, I always the one thing the partial thing of that sentence I've always thought about is, oh yeah, they're more vulnerable, but I never really thought about never forcing a situation, because then they just don't get to play.
Yeah, it's like, what makes Fox good is that he could play a wide variety of situations, and these characters cannot do that. Doesn't that mean that Fox can pick the situations he wants to play out and only play out good ones for himself?
Pick and choose. So picking and choosing good engagement points is like one of the key like philosophies to just beating these mid tiers.
Yes.
So
you can pick. They cannot.
Proper engagement points is a key driving principle in theory for beating mid tier characters.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and this is all just like about like ways to view these characters. Yeah, it's like,
well, I mean, more it's frameworks for the game, right? It like for me, it's like, well, these other people have naturally come to this conclusion. Like it's a common shared view that, oh, these characters are mid tiers because X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't matter unless you like honor and exploit those weaknesses, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Luigi's
the GOAT if you give him the opportunity to be the GOAT. Yeah.
It's true, Luigi. Yeah? Yeah, alright. Alright. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Let's see. How about I show you a match of... I could find a match of me playing versus mid-tier, and we could talk over it. And
I just want you to talk to me about your thought process, because I feel like the thought process against most mid-tiers... Like, not the game plan is different, but the thought process in, like, approaching engagement might be very similar. So, yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, I could find a match of me versus a mid-tier. No. No, those are friendlies.
You have tournament sets against mid-tiers just sitting
No, I don't. I haven't played against the mid-tier in so long. Damn. I really just don't be playing against mid-tiers. I remember playing against the Donkey Kong on Fountain of Dreams kind of recently. Played against Luigi's.
Played against Geo's Game & Watch.
Yeah, I have played against Geo's Game & Watch.
What is that? What's the story there?
I don't know. We're just playing friendlies, and sometimes I pick Fox. I'm like,
And
damn, I feel like
sometimes
playing
Geo
Fox.
could...
Because we generally don't play mains. We just like shoot the.
That's
Oh,
fair.
here goes me versus a young Link. Perfect.
Perfect. Oh, arrow. Perfect.
Yeah. And I remember playing against this young Link and being like, damn, I am trying to play against this character too much. I'm gonna pick my spots. And so you could watch this right now.
I definitely, have played and beaten this person in bracket before, but the point stands where you just figure, as soon as you figure out less is more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so you could look literally immediately. It's like
even see that fair is totally CCable, right?
Yeah. Or it's like there, ooh, I saw him jump and tried to up smash, but I didn't need to. Yeah, I played that mix up, whatever. I've reacted poorly. Oh, I didn't need to even... I had no reason to engage here. There's nothing Young Link could have done to hit me, right? At this point...
What's interesting is that these characters they get their most off when you try to force engage improperly, right?
Yeah.
Which is why maybe I struggle, because I know that I need to, engage properly, but I guess I'm not identifying the right proper engagement. And I feel like that'll just come with intuition, with the mindset, right? If I go into the mindset of oh, well, I need to look for the one thing that makes this easier and so that I can do less, or the few things that are easier that makes... I'm rambling, but I think you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and you see that literally, I was like, damn, I'm going to play against this character normally. Guess what? I lost the first stock. I got shot on, right?
Yeah.
And it'll probably take me a stock or two to realize, okay, so this is a weakness that Young Link has that I've realized. When he grabs bombs, he has to go through the lag, right?
Yeah,
and so I go over there and just nair him.
You just wait for him to pull up, just like a peach stitch or a turnip, right? You're like, oh, they're turniping. That's very slow. It's not a whiff punish exactly.
But you get to pressure them for free. And we look here. I'm like, this is at this point. I probably realized that I just can't run over there and hit him like an idiot. And so once this situation ends, I'm like, man, I'm just gonna fucking chill and start lasering. I don't have anything to worry about.
True.
Boom! I go over him. I start lasering. I hold position, and then I realize that he's grabbed a bomb, and I'm like, okay, I get to pressure him now because he's grabbing a bomb. Right? Okay, my nair missed. Guess what? I'm gonna chill. Right? Full hop. Right. Play slow. And it's like, you see how immediately I get hit way less.
Yeah, you're getting hit less as soon as you realize, oh, this person is just throwing projectiles at me. If I just do the level 1, avoid the projectile, shield the projectile, and shoot my own projectiles, he's gonna lose. It's like slightly losing neutral, right?
Yeah.
It's slight disadvantage. I mean, it's not major disadvantage, because there is major disadvantage in these matchups where you take their resource and you've up-aired them for 40 to 80% because they just can't get out. But if you just stay in slight advantage, it's really frustrating for them.
Yeah, and it's like I don't have to. I could just run away forever until I feel like there's a spot that I want to engage with, and we could literally watch the next. Once we reset to neutral, guess what just happens? Okay, I don't want to engage. I still don't feel like engaging. I'm gonna, and then guess what had to happen? The Young Link had to move over to me and try and do something. So now he's in the corner, right?
And that's your in, right? You know that, oh, well, he's gonna approach me. He's gonna have to walk forward at me at some point, right?
Yeah. And it's like, he can't, stop. Now, this is, a different spot where it's this is a spot where I just have super insane advantage. It's Young Link is really bad at, stopping Fox from, once he's close to, from hitting him. Because, he doesn't have fast moves like that.
Once you're in there, you're in, the Young Link player is in major disadvantage, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get to, your moves have, they're bigger, they have more priority, right, etc.
Yeah.
They do more damage.
Boom. And look at this stock. This stock, I immediately stopped getting hit and shot on him instantly the moment I decided to pick my spots reasonably, right?
Right. Oh my god. That's big. This is big. I'm glad. These are they're concepts that I know that I'm probably missing, but I couldn't find specific words for thought, and now that they're words for thought, they're just kind of simmering in my head.
Yeah. Oops. Oh, look at this. I know that Link doesn't have good ways of moving forward, and so when I'm close range with him, guess what happens? I literally stand still, and I'm
wait for him to nair at you.
Yeah, I'm he's gonna try and hit me. I don't give a fuck. I just up smash, right?
You just up smash knowing that he's gonna do because he's undershooting back air there, right?
He was just doing whatever. He probably meant to nair and drift back, but the whole sentiment is that Link does not have good enough front-facing tools for me to be scared in that position, right? I don't have to worry about it. I cannot prioritize it. He does anything forward, I literally just up smash. Right.
So the answer is respect their kit and exploit it. If
you have to respect the things you have to respect. It's not like you get to disrespect everything.
Respect the floaty mid tier kit.
But that's what I was talking. That's what I was talking about before with like Donkey Kong, where it's like you just have to know the things you need to respect. You don't have to respect down tilt, right? But you have to respect grab. You don't have to respect jab, but you have to respect back air. You just have to know
respect the non-functional moves.
Yeah, just like know what is important and what isn't, and then function
what isn't important.
Yeah.
And it'll become apparent, and if it's not apparently clear, that means you're not adapting, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just need to think about it, right? Just be like,
So know what is and isn't good in their kit. Not even good. What would the word be?
I mean, good, I think, is a fine word.
Yeah, know what is and isn't good in their kit.
Yeah.
And exploit them for doing the bad things.
Yeah, it's like, you just understand the character dynamic. So it goes back to what I was talking about initially, where it's like, you have to decide, or you have to figure out what the character's weaknesses are. And then once you know what their weaknesses are, you can now see how your character, like, can engage with those weaknesses that will, like, give you, the path to doing things, essentially, right? And so it's
engage with them properly and at the right time.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it at the right time, you could engage with them properly, but then you're putting yourself at risk, right?
Well, I think properly also honestly implies the correct time, right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because it's like if you're doing it correctly, you're doing everything well. But that's like, it's all relative too. That's important to know that each character has different needs that you have to fulfill.
Game's very complicated.
Yeah, and it's good not to like generalize if you don't need to.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think it's good that once I hit this up smash, guess what? I know that Young Link doesn't have anything that they could do from that spacing that's good, and I just get to turn my back in back air and like play that position. And it's like Young Link can't like easily stop me from doing this. Saw their grapple, and then I got to shine it. Cool.
And,
yep.
Yeah, I'm just noticing like you're keeping it real simple. There's not a lot happening,
Yeah.
He does a bad aerial on your shield. You grab it. You're just honoring you're like. It feels like you're out fundamenting, like you're just choosing like elementary options because they're safe.
Yep, it's just like the thing to do. Young Link is bad at beating shield because they have a bad grab, right? It's like, what is the Young Link going to do about me just shielding? Nothing. I'm just going to shield grab their dumb nair. They don't have a shine after. They can't shine after their nair. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to shield grab, right? So it's like,
Which gives me, I actually have another question. So like, when are you intuitively looking to shield grab someone? In any matchup, not even against the floating mid. I feel like one thing I noticed, the better foxes are the better foxes will grab unsafe pressure just like on reaction.
Yeah.
What do I is that just something that is game sense that comes over time, or like are you looking for a specific visual cue? Shield stun, like what am I looking for when I want a good shield grab in my game plan? I'm bad at shield grabbing. I don't do it a lot just because I've been punished for it throughout my career.
You just have to know that something, like you just have to know what is shield grabbable and what isn't. Like for example, Falco doing double shine waveline down specifically is shield grabbable if you're reading that they do that, right? Obviously they could do shine double jump out or shine full hop out or shine aerial, right? But like if you read shine, you have to understand that like just the inherent qualities of each thing. Or it's like Fox doing a rising nair on your shield is shield grabbable because he hits you coming up and has a lot of like you're out of shield stun fast enough to be able to shield grab it, right? But like something that isn't shield grabbable is Fox doing the latest possible nair shine on your shield.
The +0 sheen, the +0, like the super low +0 nair.
Yeah, like that nair specifically isn't shield grabbable because you don't have the time. But like something that's important to realize is it changes. Marth doing like the latest fair on your shield, sometimes is shield grabbable if he doesn't decide to dash back, or like him doing like maybe even one that's slightly not super late but is kind of late is shield grabbable just because he doesn't have a shine afterward, right? These are things that you just kind of know that like, well, for example, Sheik doing a fair on my shield, maybe like they do like an L canceled fair, It's like, well, Sheik doesn't have a shine afterward, so the amount, like, you have to think what they can do. And it's like, well, she can jab, forward tilt, dash, and it's like, well, do I have the frame time to, like, grab before they can do those things meaningfully? And those are things that you just have to decide.
Is that why you'll see people CC out of shield?
That's kind of a different situation where it's like...
where you're holding shield and then, like, as soon as you get hit, you're no longer in shield, but you have the frames to CC. Is that how that works?
How that works is you do an action, and then I would, like, you know, like, shield grab's the easiest one, and then you're ASDIing down because you're doing an action, right? And then when you get hit during the action, you're just ASDIing down like normal, and then you, like, do a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you know, shield grabbing, it just depends. Some things are safe, some things aren't safe, and you're just gonna have to, like, set it up in 20XX and look, is this safe? And then think, what are the options the character has to do afterward, and does that, like... Because, you know, one thing that is important to realize is that this young Link, looking literally at this VOD, I shield grabbed late as fuck.
Right, this is so late. This is like it hit your shield. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. I was 4 frames late, but it's like, what is young Link gonna do about that?
It doesn't matter because he can't do anything.
Yeah, it's not like he's gonna shine me. His jab doesn't do anything because I'm probably holding down anyways. Him dashing back doesn't matter because he can't get out of the way in time. Him spot dodging doesn't matter because it's not like he has a spot dodge shine. I could just shine and then he'll have to deal with shield pressure.
So the big takeaway is understand what characters can do after a hit on shield.
Yes.
And that's what will lead you to the juiciest reversals out of, or whatever option you choose out of shield. I'm specifically thinking about shield grab here because I opt for wave shine out of shield more, which is funny, right? Because it's like way harder, way less. But like, you know, I don't know. So that's food for thought.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just have to look at it and be like, sometimes you don't have to shine your shield. Sometimes you can just press the A button. You just have to know when you can and can't. Through either practicing it, or like, not practicing, studying it, or, you know, seeing people do it in the exact same position or whatever, right? You just have to think about it.
It's the low-hanging fruit that, like, I haven't even thought about, and then as soon as I'm remotely competent at, is going to be such a valuable part of the kit.
Yes, being good at shield grabbing is actually very important. It is a real skill. Okay, we could keep watching then. Mess up my combo, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go back and laser. It's like, boom. We watch this. I'm just lasering. What's Young Link gonna do? I know he can't hit me because he full hop rising there.
He has to hold forward towards you eventually if you shoot the laser, right?
Yes.
So you just know, like, the mental stack is pretty easy. Like, there's not very many things he can do. He can throw an aerial, at you. He could throw a projectile at you. He could try to do his risky ass grab. What else? Not very much, right?
Yeah, it's like he can't do. And the thing is, he has to close the space, meaning that I can react and decide to do something to preempt it.
You can react to him dashing in before anything even happens.
Yeah, and so we look at this position to make it, like, specific. I see him dash forward. I see him dash forward, and I'm like, I'm going to do my lasers and drift back. And then I see that he does a full hop rising there, and I'm like, well, I don't have to interact with this because, you know, there's things that he could fall, he could double jump. I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't need to interact with it because there's nothing pressing me to. And so at this point, I see him double jump, and I'm like, oh, he double jumped, I now get to make a decision. And so you see that the moment he double jumped, guess what? I just decide to run forward and up smash because the fuck is he going to do to stop me from up smashing? He can't do anything. He sucks. Young Link just sucks.
I see what you're saying.
Right? And so it's like, I am just, like, playing in a way where it's like, he can't do anything about, like, I just get to pick when I get to pick when I want to engage. Oh, I picked once he did something that left him with no options? Cool. And then immediately after, I'm like, well, he got hit without a double jump. What's he going to do? Land on the ground? And so I just read it and just, you know, hop upper and get, like, a combo. Right? Or I should have gotten a combo. But it's like, this is, like, the way that you should, like, approach these characters where it's like, where you know that they don't have options, force them into positions like this to try and hit you. You don't need to, like, you know, try and hit them directly if you don't want to.
Figure out where the mid-tier has no options and follow up and abuse those openings.
Yeah, and you look here, guess what? I do the same exact thing with shield, and I get a shield grab. Guess what? Boom, shield grab, doesn't matter. Get a combo, right? And he dies. Nice, right? And so it's like, you know, after the first stock, guess what I started doing? I started playing the matchup reasonably and stopped giving him free hits by, like, forcing him to, like, make commitments and use the fact that I'm a better character and like can pick my spots to my advantage, right?
Right. So choosing the correct counter hit places, like picking and choosing where you get a counter hit that's basically risk free.
Yeah. And look what I do immediately. Juke them on respawn, whatever. They can't hit me. I'm in the corner. I'll go back to the corner. I start lasering.
Shoot lasers. Yeah.
Now I do this, which was greedy. I didn't need to do. I messed up there. Oh, guess what? Youngling sucks at dealing with shield. Guess what I do when I'm awkward and in a weird position? I just shield until something happens.
Just hold shield until he does. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And if you just hold shield, like, they can't force you to do anything if you're just in shield, right?
Yeah, right.
You're just in shield until you're not, because they hate your shield and inevitably it's bad for them.
Yeah.
Whereas a character like Marth, if you're in shield, like dash up grab is, or like Falcon, run up grab, unreactable, and you die.
Yeah.
But like this character can't do that, so why not do it, right?
Yeah, right. Why not make them have to deal with me shielding? And guess what? Boom. I shield, and then I'm like, oh, they boomeranged my shield. I want to be at a different spacing, and I just roll away. It like boom. It literally did not matter.
Right.
And then here, something that I think I did that's really good is that I do this laser and see that they like jump, and I'm like, oh, I get to go under them because of how close I am. And, right, you see? And so I walk forward, and then I keep on playing spacing. I shield because I don't want to get hit by projectiles. Oh, look! Literally,
right.
I'm like...
He has to, like, he's in a terrible spot. He's in so much lag, yet he did a Zaire, right?
Like, it's more about, like, he literally ran across the stage to hit me. Literally just watched...
And you just ran past him, right?
I just shielded. No, it's not even that. I just shielded. If you watch it in real time, I simply was like, I'm shielding. Nothing happened.
Walks forward, you shield. Okay.
Literally nothing happened, right?
Right.
I didn't have to worry about shit. He ran across the screen to get me to shield and roll away, and now he's in the corner, potentially gonna die.
Right.
Oh, he got red like fuck.
Really making the risk-reward game non-existent for the floating mid-tier is like the key to success.
Yeah, you have to make them... They're not good enough to not work for it, so you have to make them do it, right? And that's like... With that game, you know, once you saw me play the one match, or the one stock poorly, I was like, wait, I have to play the game a wee bit more. And so I started treating the character, like, engaging with their weeknesses directly, you know?
Engage with their weaknesses directly.
That's where you win.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with any character. You beat a character based off their weaknesses and how you can engage with it well, not like beat their fucking best. Oh look, I played a Kier. We could watch me versus Donkey Kong.
Oh great, yeah. I need this on next week.
I'm pretty sure this went poorly because I stopped caring. But there's points we'll see points.
There are points where you care. That's all. We all just need to. I just want to it's just about the mental process in certain moments and we can take enough from that, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's mostly about like once we what's it called? Just see the moments where I'm like, I will decide to not get hit by Donkey Kong in a stupid way. Right. Then we could, you know, go ahead and do the bullshit, you know?
Right. The bullshit happens, but you don't have to. If you force it to happen, it's gonna go poorly for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. This was already good.
You're just holding shield because you know up air. I mean, his big meaty punish comes from up air, back air, and grab, right?
Yep. Boom. I stay on the back of his shield because it's better than being in front and getting shield grabbed, right?
So you want to stay behind DK if he's in shield.
Yeah. You see how I specifically...
You just waited, right? Like a better character, you couldn't just wait here, right?
Yeah. Boom. Oh, I take 20 trying to CC shine and then mess up and die. That sucks.
Yeah. Or for example, another character who like Ganondorf has to double jump from the ledge, and when you know that, you can punish that every time.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are just things in the game plan that. I mean, like I already abused top tiers for like doing like a bad F tilt. You get CC grabbed from Sheik. It's the same principle as what you're getting at. It's just there's less risk reward because the character can't do anything if you have proper counterplay to their linear neutral options.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to if we're gonna go back to like specifically talking about Donkey Kong, look,
Yeah.
I respect his back air, and then I see that he has to land, right? Because he did a back air
As
from the
soon
top
as he
platform.
lifts the back air and is in landing lag, you're like, oh, this is my chance.
Yeah, and guess what? Donkey Kong doesn't have a shine. He doesn't have a chic for it. He just lands and tries the backer again and doesn't have the time, so he gets running shined, right? So it's like it doesn't matter if I'm like frame perfectly getting there. He can't stop me. And that's like kind of what you want to like understand these aspects of the character that like, oh, he doesn't have this kind of option, and so like it makes me doing something in a certain way more reasonable, you know?
This character doesn't have X option, which makes Y option more reasonable.
Yeah. Nice. Should die here. Nice.
Oh, also, one thing I wanted to ask you, just a general habit. What do I replace side B? Like I've been dying to like people have been calling me out. Like people better than me are calling me out for my like shortens to the ledge. Even though like I hit the one frame mid shortened, like certain players will be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the ledge here.
Yeah.
How do I mix up I need to figure out like how do I keep my opponent on the edge of their toes with recovery mix-ups? I feel like my recovery mix-ups are just not good.
You just have to do a wide variety of things. It's like sometimes you up B high and far. Sometimes you up B at a point where you could do like the shallow angle to ledge or like a higher one that's hard to cover. Maybe you side B directly to edge and sweet spot. Maybe you side B to side platform and edge cancel. Maybe you up B at platform height and go straight. Maybe you up B at platform height and go to ledge. Maybe you shine stall and then double jump into side B. Right? It's just like variation.
Yeah. Would you say like a rule would don't do the same thing twice?
I think it depends.
Like, is that too general?
I think that's too general because there's some characters that just can't cover some things, so you just get to do it, right? Something you just have to be specific, and it's not like ultimately it's a mix-up. Sometimes you will just like have to do the same thing twice because it's a mix-up. Sometimes you won't do the same thing twice.
That's just a matter of quality of decision making, and that I can just make a better varied decision.
Yeah, and I think if you really want to learn, you should just watch how other foxes recover and copy those things. Cody does, some unique things in recovery. Geo does some unique things in recovery. Moki has a few unique things. Like they all have different recoveries, and you can just look at how they do it and like steal it and see if you think it's good or not.
Good.
And
then you see that he's in shield, and that his only out of shield option is, or that would hit you as back or out of shield, so you do a dash back.
Yep, I move out of the way of the back air and then get to punish it, right? I'm like,
I'm starting to like the Matrix memes. I'm starting to believe.
Yeah. Cool. Guess what? I space around bear, right?
You just full hop over him and he can't do anything.
Yeah, it's clear that like I know that he has to bear, and I know he's falling with bear, and guess what? I'm gonna full hop over it because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And guess what? When he's bearing, I'm generally respecting the space that he's like would take up with bear, right? I messed up my L cancel and got grabbed. Fucking cringe. Oh, good defense from me. Good up smash. I'm so sick.
Oh, I love up smash out of shield.
Yep, and guess what? I know Donkey Kong doesn't have good forwards facing options, so now that I'm in front of him pressuring his shield, I space around grab, and Lance like, what's he gonna do double jumping? He's gonna get hit by me.
You're gonna get back here.
Yeah, he can't stop. Oh, look, this is cool too. I do this bear that I drift through his shield so he can't shield grab it. This is like secret technique that people need to start doing against Marth, is you could drift forward and avoid grab when you're super close. But yeah, it's just like...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a butt grab.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yep, and Donkey Kong dead. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I mistimed my jump and got bared.
Would you say... So, like, I know you just finished watching Summit. I mean, I don't know. Did you watch the end of Summit?
No, I honestly didn't watch any of it.
One thing I noticed is that Cody was copying Mango's game plan with, like, when he was fighting Amsa, Mango figured out that, like, falling full hop up air beats double jump armor. And that was, like, a huge thing, mixing up full hop up air and drill.
Yeah.
Because you know that drill loses to double jump, double jump armor.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to see one fall. I was thinking about it, and then I saw Cody immediately apply all of Mango's tools, and it was like not like compared to the first set they played last weekend. it was just like a wash. So I'm starting. I really appreciate this explanation. It makes a lot of sense that you're looking to, as long as you minimize risk reward and choose the right engagement places, know your character, know the mid tier's weaknesses. It's pretty smooth sailing.
I agree. And we look literally right here. I know that Donkey Kong's facing forward because he whiffed a grab. Fuck is Donkey Kong gonna do? It's like if Donkey Kong moves forward there, there's fucking nothing that he can do that will stop that. He just has to eat it if he moves forward. His short hop
gets stuffed by up tilt. His full hop gets stuffed by back air.
Yeah.
You can shine and not get shield grabbed.
Yeah.
Etc. Okay. All right.
Nice.
Right, there's shine grab, knowing that he wants shield grab.
Yep, and right. I also do a late nair specifically that can't get shield grabbed, right? Because I know that I don't want.
Super safe one, right? Yeah.
Look at the timing I do it. Right. Boom, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm already shining, right? Boom. Yeah. That's the -6 nair, right? That looks like it can get shield grab, but it can't. And then I shine grab, and it's fine. I messed up my combo though because I suck. I don't play anymore. It's not my fault. Boom. Nice. Fair. He's dead. Cool.
I like that you do the Marth. You cover the Marth up B angle. You know, with if you go back 5 seconds, this shine is like you would do that shine against Marth too. Not. I think it was like over here, right? You do like this shine.
Oh,
right. That's like a Marth shine you do against Marth. Right.
That's funny. Yeah. And he should just be dead here. Boom. Donkey Kong is dead.
Rinse, repeat. Yeah. Exploit. Yeah. So, and that's just going to be a matter of labbing and feeling things out. But as soon as I feel things out, like it's like a few hours of solo practice against each mid tier, and I probably won't lose to them unless I play really poorly.
I agree. And look at this. Boom. I know that he can bear the shield. And I shield, and it's like, I realize, I'm like, okay, well, he isn't bearing. I'm wave dash forward down tilting. Oh, guess what? He wants a shield grab? Fucking dumbass.
Well, it's funny because, right, like if you were to shield against a better character, the other characters could grab you out of it, but DK can't do that. And knowing that, you get your like completely risk-free defense option.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
And a lot of the mid tiers have the recurring theme of like, if you can play around shield grab, they lose one of their biggest tools.
Yeah.
Right? Like Doc, DK, Luigi.
A lot of them have good grab games, and that's how they get their combos, but if you don't give it to them...
They just... Yeah.
Then am I going to run up smash? I'm going to do it eventually. There's no way I don't just do it.
Right. No, I feel you. That's the Fox urge. That's every Fox, right?
Yeah. No, it's just like, when am I going to run up smash? That's just cool.
I want to GC up smash him.
And he's dead. Boom, Baba Booey.
Got it.
Yep, and you see that game, I mean, it was clear that I was playing around the things that Donkey Kong could do and trying to put him in spots that are hard for him to deal with. And it went pretty well, I think. Right?
Right.
And it's like also pretty clear that every time I got hit is by one of the things that Donkey Kong could do. Back air and grab. Right?
Right. There are literally 2 ways he can open you up. And if you practice... the counterplay to those open up, eventually it'll become second nature, right? And you just right. It's the same with the top tier characters, where like I've trained myself to I see what you're saying. I appreciate this is a great way to approach. This was a very valuable lesson.
Nice.
So I'm probably gonna spend a few hours just like labbing all of the main options that mid tiers have.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea. Just learning how they work. And learning how your character functions in relation to them and trying to do that to the best of your ability is just like all you can really ask for.
Totally.
Okay, cool. We're about at time.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think I have like 1 saved, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's 1 at this point.
Or I think it's 1 or 2. Yeah.
So I'll come back to you when I reach a point in TMT bracket where I'm getting farmed by X top player and winners, and X top player and losers.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds good.
The next lesson I think I want to work on is figuring out a plan for scrapping. Cactor was telling me I was doing a real good job with like being aggressive and making Marth commit to something, but like as soon as we were close, it's hard. Like I just don't have a plan to scrap against Marth. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I appreciate the insight, and I will see you soon. Probably.
Okay. Cool. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later, man.